Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Hey, if you're new here, please click that like, that subscribe, and don't forget to bang that bell notification. This way, you get notified every time I upload a video. What's today's video all about? Today, we're doing a cam chest on a 2024 Road Glide. And not just a cam chest, we're upgrading the ECU or ECM, depending on what language you speak. I already had people call me out on it. It's not an ECU, it's an ECM, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It's whatever language you want to speak. But we're also doing a head pipe. We're doing an ECU replacement. We're doing a cam bearing. Basically, we're going to wake up this bike. And what bike are we working on? It is a beautiful 2024 Road Glide. And that beautiful rear, hard to find, vivid black. I keep saying that. It's not funny, but it is. But we just got done doing the Thrash and Supply triple trees on this. He already had the T-bars, but we had to do the Thrash and Supply triple trees. With the Thrash and Supply triple trees, guys, you do lose the cowbells. And the owner of the bike knows that. So what I want to do is a cold start sound bit for you of what the bike sounds like stock with the Chromeworks air cleaner, the Screaming Eagle wedge, Chromeworks mufflers, the Chromeworks mufflers, slip-ons, the Screaming Eagle air cleaner with the Screaming Eagle street tuner. So just so we can get an idea of the before and after. Oh, I got to get the fob. Okay, we got the fob. Oh, we got juice now. All right, ready? Before. Oh, helps if I put it in neutral. Okay, we got the fob and we're in neutral. And that's what it sounds like when it's cold. So I already got the seat and the saddlebags, the side covers off. What's the next thing I need to do? I need to pull the main fuse. Why? Because I'm going to be disconnecting the ECU or ECM, whatever language you speak. And right here on the 24s, you'll see this little rubber cover right here. Open that up and you'll see this nice 60 amp fuse. Just pull that right out. And the reason why you pull that out is so when you go put everything back together, you start the bike up, you will not have any codes like lost comm with radio and all that other fun stuff. So, but what are the products that we have? Let's go over the products and we're going to install them together. First one we're going to start off is with a Thunder Max ECU or ECM S&S tappet cuffs, some fuel motor adjustable push rods, a cam bearing, a beautiful Cyclorama. Is that a 484 cam, I believe? Yep. And the tools we're going to need is you're going to need to jack up the back tire because we're going to put it in 6th gear, pull it off. You're going to need a spark plug socket, a long 3/16 ball end, a cam chain lockout tool that locks out your cam and pinion gear, a 3/8 ratchet and extension, a little magnet, a 1/2 inch and 9/16 socket, 1/2 inch 9/16 wrench, a 14 and 15 millimeter, and not required but I use a little impact gun, and most importantly, instructions or the book. I printed them out off the PDF and all the gaskets and materials and consumables we're going to need, and of course the lifters. Those lifters have been soaking now for 24 plus hours, so we're ready to rock and roll. Let me pick this bike up. I'm going to get the mufflers off, get the floorboard off, and take the exhaust off. Why? Because it's no different from 2014 or 2009 to current. So there's no reason to show you that. I mean, if you've done one, you've done them all. but I'm really interested in digging into that cam chest. All right, guys, I got the exhaust off, got the air cleaner off, and the muffler off. That was no fun. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our push rods. And the first thing we're going to do is we've got to expose them. So you're going to take your screwdriver through this loop, just twist it out. And that loop just looks just like that. You just twist it right out for all four. And those four are out. Put those off to the side, someplace safe, so they don't get damaged. Next thing we want to do is we're going to lift up on one push rod. Ugh. Usually you can, but this one's being a hard time. But we'll get it. There we go. And we're going to take our bolt cutters right there on the push rod. I'm going to show you guys one, and then I'll do the other three on my own. So you get a good bite on it, squeeze, bite in again, depending on the size of your bolt cutters. These are a little small for this, but they get the job done. And just like that, we've cut out the push rod. These are now garbage. Okay, now we gotta get you in the frame here. I already got the back one done. We're gonna do the front one together. The tappet blocks. I got one screw out, but I want to show you how important these are. These ball-ended or ball-end Allen or hex wrenches. If you look at it, there's a little ball on it. So you could get in there in funky angles. It's like a universal built into it. I love these things. And you just gotta manhandle these out, and then we'll manhandle them in and torque them when we're done. Or when we get to that point, I should say. Now I'm waiting on some feeler gauges to come in because I can't find mine. And the feeler gauges are for setting your anti-rotational cuffs. And that's what I'm waiting on. They should be delivered tomorrow. So, yeah, what will be next day for me will be moments for you. But we're going to go as far as we can, getting this all back together, except for torquing down the new anti-rotational cuffs. Because they're not, the feeler gauges, I can't find mine. I don't know where they are. And and I'll show you the reason why when you torque them, why it's important. And I'm a firm believer in if you're going to do the job, do it right, or don't do it at all. Now, some of the differences I've noticed so far in the second generation M8 to the first generation M8 is the throttle body is canted, because on the first generation this is out further and it's up and down, where this one is canted and it's sucked into the motor. I don't know if that's good or bad. To me, the air coming in that's being restricted by the butterfly valve has more of a chance to heat up. And if you know anything about motor building, the colder your air charge, the more performance you get. So, well, it is what it is with this. I'm going to show you a quick secret. These, oh, that one just came off. Usually you got to tap them with a rubber mallet to get them out. So these O-rings, they're going to go into garbage. And the same thing with this gasket. They tend to stick, and that's why they're a harder problem. Come on, look, gasket, gonna break my balls tonight. There we go. Maybe if I used a gasket cutter. All right, I'll clean this up a little bit. Little piece of gasket there. Let me get that gasket. Screwdriver. I forget what it's called at this point, but there you go. All right, so another tool I forgot to mention we're going to need is a 3/8 socket, which is right here. So let me grab that. Yep, 3/8. Now you got to be careful. because these have a tendency to snap. Why? Harley tends to put, okay, that one, if it doesn't break free easily, Harley put way too much thread locker on there, and that's why they break. And normally what I do, if they break, I will leave them in, take the whole cam chest apart, pull the lifters out from the inside. I'll heat up here in between with a heat gun, and then on the inside, just expand the aluminum a little bit to break that Loctite or thread locker, and then we're golden. Let me check this one. There we go, that one broke free nice and easy. So let me get these out, and then when I'm ready to pull them and pull lifters, I'll bring it back with me. Okay, I got those pieces removed, those bolts removed, now I'm removing these pieces. Now, I tend to try not to reinvent the wheel, so when I pull out my lifters, and I'll grab a magnet to help me. So I'll grab it, try and pull it up. They're a little oily. There we go, that's one. What I try and do is look and see where the oiling hole is. So this one is towards the center. This one should be towards the center, and these should be towards the center too. But we're going to find out. That one is towards the center. Oh, that one's forward. Okay, and that one's forward. So all four of them go forward, according to how they came out from the factory. Now we do have the new lifters from S&S that's going in here with nice adjustable push rods. So I'm going to package up his old lifters because he wants all his old parts, but he's not going to get the push rods because they're cut, they're garbage at this point. Funny story about push rods and lifters. When I was in auto shop back in the 80s, we used to use the lifters and push rods. We actually didn't use, we attempted to make those pipes for that funny tobacco. Well, I was in auto shop and that's what we did. Well, that was an idea we came up with. Yeah, it wasn't such a great idea. All right, so now I'm going to change the tripods, get you down here to see what I'm working on. Hang tight. Alrighty, so what's left is I got all these 3/16 Allen or hex head screws to take out to pull this cover off. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got those 9 we got to take out. We're going to pull this cover off, but before we do that, we're going to follow the wire, which is right here. We're going to unplug this wire. Now, what is this wire? That's a very good question. This is for the cam sensor, right here. And that's behind here. That's different from the first gen to the second gen M8s, is they have a cam sensor. And from the research that I've been doing, talking to other technicians who've done this before, and consulting the service manual. That's right, consulting the service manual. There is no exact alignment for the cam sensor as far as rotation goes. So you could just slap it in, torque it up, and call it done, from what I've been seeing. So let me zip these out, and we'll get back at it. I got them all mostly out. Now, why do I say mostly out? Because there's one still left in there. And why is that? Because this here gets stuck just like those tend to. So I just take my rubber mallet with the one on there to break that seal. And once that seal is broken, I take the last screw out and I put it in my cupcake tin. And there's the gasket. And there's that sensor I was telling you about. Wow, that's kind of rusty. For a brand new bike, I'm surprised. Throw that gasket away. And here's that cam sensor that we were looking at. I did not want to remove it because I don't want to play with the clearances and all that. So I just want to make that part known right now. So I'm going to take that cam cover, put it down in a safe spot. We are reusing the cam plate, oil pump, and cam chain tensioner. Yes, we are. And one of the things I want to do is I want to align my timing marks. I'll grab my flashlight so you guys could see it. This is not really a critical step because once you take the cam gear off and pull the cam, it's not going to be perfectly aligned. But here's your timing marks. Here's one, here's two. This is on your pinion shaft and this is on your cam shaft. This is a T27. All these are 3/16 Allen. This is a 1/2 inch. This is a 9/16. So I have a lockout tool here. It only fits in one way. I always get it wrong the first time. There we go. And that will prevent everything from spinning. To remove the cam chain tensioner, I don't have to lock that out yet. But I figured, why not? I'm there. Let's do it, right? So, let's see, can I put more light on this subject for you? I don't know, that might be a little too much light. What do you think? I think so. All right, just trying to bring you better quality. Let's see if I can move you closer. There we go. So these are a T27. And what I do is I'll loosen them both by hand. Grab my gun and I'll zip out the bottom one. Sorry. And then zip out the top. Well, I got to move you guys over just to here. Zip out the top. And I'll set that aside. While we're here, we'll look at the wear on this tensioner. And it's not bad at all. It's a low mileage bike, so I'm not surprised. I am so not surprised. All right, so they got a lot of slack in this chain. So I'm going to grab my 9/16 socket, which goes right there. And this is left-handed thread. So I'm going to break it free. Ooh, that wasn't supposed to pop out. All right, let's realign that. There we go. Put this back in. Not aligned completely yet. Maybe that'll do better. Getting the rent. Yep. All right. There we go. That's it. So this is not keyed or anything. It just floats in there. So while that's loose, next I'm going to grab my 1/2 inch socket and I'm going to do the pinion shaft. And these are all left-handed normal, lefty loosey, righty tighty, normal thread. All right, so here we go. We're gonna have to clean these up because there is thread locker on these, believe it or not. It calls for the red. So I'm gonna pull that out, put that over there, change out my, grab this with the washer. Whoop, yeah, there's a washer there. I'm gonna put that aside, pull this off, because now this could come out. Come on, let go. There we go, that's out. We're gonna need that when we go to torque them. We'll pull our pinion shaft gear and our cam gear, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna let it sit here in my drain pan, because if it gets oil on it, who cares, right? There is a spacer / washer here. So I gotta get behind that and try and get this off. If not, I can pull it with the cam plate. We'll do that. But first, I want to pull the 4 bolts for the oil pump. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually stamped on this one. I'm not going to remove the oil pump. That's why I'm unbolting it. I'm going to try and leave the oil pump in there. That's 1 oil pump screw, 2 oil pump screws. I know I didn't go into the sequence that I said, but it's really not important at this point. It's going to be important when we go to torque it. 4 oil pump screws, done. Now we have the 6 cam plate screws. 2, 4, 6. And there is a torque sequence for torquing it, but not for tightening. And we got all our gaskets from Kinetic gaskets. Those are my favorite gaskets on the market by far. And we're going to replace the cam bearing since we're putting in a new cam. We're also going to be doing a run-out measurement of this pinion shaft. Okay, now that cam plate should be ready to pop right out of there. Just like that. And the oil pump stayed, which is beautiful. It's what I wanted. Here's the old camshaft. We were going to compare the old camshaft to the new camshaft. But first, we have to pull that cam bearing. Let me get that set up, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so this is the actual puller. Goes in this plate. It's threaded, but I want to thread it in. Now this plate will only go on one way. And what I like to do is I will get it started like this and snap that into place like that. And I'll start my thumb screws, just start them, because then I'll hold that plate. And then I'll spin this in. And then once everything's happy-go-lucky, I could start pulling that bearing, and then we will reset it and do the installation part of it, which is actually quite easy. So, oh, spinning that one the wrong way, dumbass. All right, let me get this one cleaned out. It's a little tight. Okay, so that's done. Now we want to make sure we get this in the right rotation. And we're going to take our center. That's what spreads the arms on the inside against that cam. Just like that. Now, we're going to just tighten this up. And it's going to pull that cam. All right, cam bearing, what I'm saying. All righty, let's pull this cam bearing. There we go, just broke free. Now one thing we want to look at when we get this cam bearing out is, does the bevel side go in or does the bevel side go out? That's a question I want you guys to answer right now. So leave me a comment down below. Do you think the bevel side of the cam bearing goes in towards the crank or out towards the cam? I want to hear from you guys what you have to say and think about it. All right, that cam bearing is out, so I'm going to remove my bolts here in the center section because we don't need that anymore. And I'm also going to go around and clean up all these holes from all the thread locker that's in there while, you know, everything's apart. I still haven't decided if I'm going to pull the oil pump yet. If I don't need to, I don't have to. So what do you think, guys? Does the bevel side of the bearing go in, or does it go in towards the crank or out towards the cam? You tell me, because I know how it goes. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now. You ready? The beveled end, this beveled end, goes in towards the crankshaft. So now you have the insulation adapter. You leave the old bearing in place. And then you push this on. I hit it with the rubber mallet. So that's the installation tool. We're going to back this out, give us some room. But before we continue, I want to clean up those threads. So let me clean them up like I always do. It's a thread cleaner. I just put it in the hole, just like that. And I run them in and out. Okay, so I've been asked in the past, what do I do after I clean out all the holes with the thread locker? And it's very simple. I gotta clean all this up. Very simple. What I do is I simply just blow it out with some compressed air, because if you don't, all these are blind holes. And what does that mean that they're blind even up here? These 5 here and these 5 here. These 6 for the cam plate and the 9 for the outer cam chest, they're blind. What does that mean? That means they go nowhere. They're not open-ended on the other side. So with all that thread locker and everything in there, as you clean them, it's going to drop down and go in to the bottom, because gravity always works. So yeah, while we're here, let's take this out before I forget. Throw it away because we got a new one. And I am going to pull because I do have to clean up this case. So let me pull out this oil pump. There we go. And I got a new inner seal too. So I'm just going to lay that down just so like that. I do have a new inner seal, so I'm going to put that in there. But I'm going to put a rag in here to catch all this oil that's dripping. And I will make sure I get that rag out. I am not going to leave that in. And why do I say that? Because I've seen it where someone had motor work done and the rag was left in. You'd be amazed what you see. You'd be really amazed what you see. So, I am unpackaging our new cam bearing, which is from J Tech, whatever that is. And what you want to do is grab yourself some assembly lube, engine assembly lube. This is from Torco. And we are going to put some assembly lube on the inside on all these bearings. And what's the difference between assembly lube and motor oil? The assembly lube's a lot thicker and it tends to stick. So I'm going to take my finger and run it around on the inside. And there's no such thing as using too much. So I'm going to grab my installation tool, put that on. Now the beveled edge, as you can see, is facing towards the motor like it was. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of room here. I'm going to put some assembly lube on the outside of that cam bearing. Why? Because it's going to help with the installation process of the cam bearing. And I will add more assembly lube to the camshaft when that goes in. Oh, knocking you over. All right, so now this goes in here like this. This goes here like this. And now I don't have to put that centerpiece in, because now we're using as a press and not a puller. So I'm going to bring this in by hand just to center it, and I'm going to tighten all these up. All right, now grab our ratcheting wrench, and now we're just going to press it in. until it stops. All right, it stopped. Back this off just a little bit. And then we're going to check the depth to make sure that's in all the way. And if it is in all the way, then we are done with this tool. Then the next tool will be the runout gauge. So let me, yep, that's in all the way. That's a beautiful thing. Now to get this off, remember that tool that we put through the center? I'm going to use that. Just going to punch it through. Or try to. There we go. We got the installation tool removed. Pull out the T-handle. And now we could just unthread the puller or the thread part of it. And yes, guys, like any other tool with threads, whether it's for wheel bearings, cam bearings, tools like that, you want to lubricate your threads. Why do you want to lubricate your threads? Because they'll stay happier and live longer, and your tools will last a lot longer. Nobody likes to spend money on tools they don't have to. Okay, I got the tool to measure the pinion shaft runout. This is your pinion shaft, which comes off your crank. And that's what drives your oil pump, which drives the pinion shaft gear, which drives your camshaft, which moves your lifters and push rods up and down, which open and close your valves. That's kind of important. Harley Davidson says you can have up to, I believe it's 14 thousandths run out to be within specification. If you choose to use the S&S oil pump and cam plate, it's only 5 thousandths of run out. So if you're doing a cam, I don't care if it's a twin cam, I don't care if it's an M8. If you're doing a cam, this is a very important step you don't want to miss out on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on here for you. Now, I got it set to 0. All right, so let's make sure we're on 0. We're on 0. I'm going to move one of these little tabs to the 0. Right there. And now I'm going to do is, since the bike is in 6th gear, and I have 2 spark plugs out of the heads, and the back tire is jacked up, I'm going to rotate this back tire, and we're going to measure our run out. I'm going to watch it from the side as I'm doing it. I'm going to go 2 full rotations. Oh, I saw that. Let's go back. Okay, so that is the max amount of run out. Oh my God, that is awesome. That's like 2 thousandths run out. That's almost perfect. Let's see. Yeah, that's 2 thousandths of run out. Wish I had that on Spaceball, because I did this on Spaceball not too long ago. I took it apart just to measure things, and it was at 7 thousandths. But this is good. This only has 5 thousandths of run out. Alrighty, now we're back to the fun part of putting the oil pump back in. I do have the new O-ring for here, which I'm going to just bathe in a little bit of oil so it stays in. That's the O-ring that I took out. That was right there. And that's where that one lives, nice and happy. Here's a new oil ring for the oil pump, which we have to believe take that one off still. Yes, we do. There it is. That's the old one. Goes in the garbage. The new one, it's nice and brown. Soak it up in some oil. And I already put on the new seal for the back of the pump. So now what we got to do is try and get all these gears lined up. Happy-go-lucky. Let's see. I never get this first shot, so bear with me. So let's see. We'll take that one out. And let's try and get this one lined up. There we go. That's lined up. Line that back plate up and push it in. Just like that. Now we'll take this one and try and get this one here lined up as well and installed. We're going to unwrap our camshaft. It's a Cyclorama 484 cam. And there's a very important step. When you get a new cam, you look at it, it might have this gluck all over it. And what is that? That is a protection that Cyclorama or other cam manufacturers might use to keep it from getting corroded. So a little brake cleaner and a rag and a little bit of time to clean it all off. Make it nice and pretty. Then once it's clean, we can sit there and compare the two cams as far as the lift, the duration, base circle, and I'll show you why the base circle is so different, why we have to use adjustable push rods. And I'm going to say this now. Every time you replace your cam, I highly, let me say that again, highly recommend, and it's the best business practice or best mechanics practice, that you replace the lifters and your cam bearing. Because if you don't, you can end up with some premature wear, and that won't be good for anybody. This bike is going to be lumpy when it's done. When it's all warmed up, I can't wait. We'll do a cold start when I come back from a road test. Then we will do a what it sounds like at idle. All right, so I'm going to set the two cams up next to each other. And let me show you the difference. Now, if you look, this duration is real short. That one's a lot longer. Well, this lift is kind of gradual. This is more deliberate. If you look at the base circle, this base circle is a lot larger than this one. And that's why we're doing that. Now, remember all that assembly lube? This is where all that comes in to practice and play. Because we are going to be lubing up the brand new camshaft. That's right, you heard me. The brand new camshaft. We're going to lube it up and we're going to install it. You heard that correct. I still can't get over that. That's only 2 thousandths of run out on that cam. That's awesome. All right. So I'm going to take my assembly lube and I'm going to just address every shiny surface that I can, except for the very end where it's going to stick into the cam plate, because once the cam's in, then I can do that. And again, you cannot use too much of this stuff. There's no such animal. No such animal. Don't worry about getting assembly lube on your hands, because it's going to happen. I'm going to show you how that's going to happen. All right, we got the assembly lube all on there. It's dripping. Take your hands and get it on there. Work it. You got to keep it lubricated. So now we take our cam. We'll install it right there. Just like that, the camshaft is in. Now the cam plate. Boy, that camshaft is huge. I like it. For a 117, this thing is awesome. All right, now we'll take the assembly lube. We're going to put it around the camshaft. and around the pinion shaft. Again, it's, just best practices. And I'm going to squirt some into the oil pump as well, because that's pretty dry. But I'm going to crank it over without fuel pressure, and just to get oil circulating through the motor before we do a first fire. Making sure our O-ring is in. Grabbing our cam plate, put her on the pinion shaft, and line up the crank with, the pinion shaft and the camshaft. There we go. Now, that washer, aka spacer, we're going to put that on with the gears, and then we're going to measure how far out they are, because if you don't do that step, you will have premature wear on your cam gears. But first, I want to torque down and put these bolts in for the cam oil pump loosely and the cam chest, because we're going to do what they call centering of the oil pump. So, all right, 3/16. Try this again. These do not need Loctite because they have lock washers. And going in the torque sequence, back you guys up. And if you notice, I'm not running them down. I'm just installing them. And the same thing, I'll do the same thing with the oil pump. Or, sorry, cam plate. Oil pump's done. And this is the sequence we go. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. There's 5. And there's 6. So, let me get the good book, and we're going to read it together and go from there. Okay, I'm going to do 1 full rotation, just like the center of the cam plate. Now I'm going to tighten the cam plate. I'm going to just go around and just double check. Alrighty, and just like every other quarter 20 bolt on your Harley, it's anywhere from 90 to 120 inch-pounds. So we're going to go to 105 inch-pounds and torque our cam plate. That's 1. 2. Why didn't that one click off? Okay, there's 3. 3, 4. 5. 6. Now I'm going to verify. People cringe when I do this, but it works in aviation. It's in the best practice of the aviation manual. So if it works for helicopters and planes, definitely works for motorcycles. All right, so I'm going to do 1 more full rotation all the way around. Now I'm going to tighten up or snug up the oil pump and then torque that one as well. In the torque circuit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we'll torquing these up and the torque sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go verify it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Know what I forgot to do? But that's okay, because I could do one at a time. Is I'm going to pull each cam plate screw, put some Loctite on them. I'm going to do it one at a time. I can't believe I forgot that step. Better I figure it out now than later. Wouldn't you agree? There's oil on it now. Jesus, this is just getting better and better. Mo fun, mo fun, mo fun. All right, nothing a little brake carb cleaner or brake parts cleaner can't fix. All right, some thread locker. Okay, so now we got to put our spacer on, and we're going to grab our cam gear and our pinion gear, and those got to get torqued to 15 foot-pounds. That's right, because what we have to do is measure the alignment to make sure our alignment is still good, that the gears are properly aligned. So I'm not going to use that yet. Maybe just a spacer. Yeah, I'll grab the spacer. That one's a 9/16. And then this one down here is a 1/2 inch, which I got to wipe that off. This is one of the most important steps. Grab the 1/2 inch, zip that up. And grab our gear. Just for prosperity, we're going to line up our timing marks. There we go. All right, I got that installed, so now we're going to torque the cam gear to 15 foot-pounds. Done. Now we'll do the pinion shaft. Done. All right, so that's all done. So back this off. Back down to its minimal setting. Now what we need to do is pull that piece out, get a straight edge, and then measure. God, come on. There we go. And now we got to measure the alignments of the gears. So what's a good straight edge? A mechanic's ruler. I know I have one. The ones I have are not small enough. I don't know what happened to my other ones. So they're saying 10 thousandths. It's got to be less than 10 thousandths from here to there. And it is. So when you look at it, going across the gear faces like that, the gap down here is less than 10 thousandths. Make a sense? All right, so what's left? I have to put that piece back in, take these off, put the chain on it, and then we'll do the torque sequence to it. You don't want to miss out on that. Oh, now it goes in. And these get red Loctite. That's right, you heard me right, red Loctite. So that spacer for the cam gear is perfect. Don't have to worry about it. Put this cup back together the way it was. The bolt goes in, this spacer goes here, and then that could go on, so on and so on. But I want to clean up a lot of this rust that's on here. I don't know why there's rust on there, but there is. There shouldn't be. But we're going to clean that up. All right, so pull our pinion gear off. Wipe it down, make sure it's nice and clean. Grab our cam chain tension, or cam chain. Put that on like that. We're going to roughly align our cam chain. See, that's off a tooth. So we'll just take that and move it That would be perfect. So we'll put that on the cam. Okay, we got our timing marks aligned. So now what we got to do is align our cam to our pinion as close as we can. All right. A hard time tonight. I don't know why. Let me do this. There we go. There we go. All right, so we know our spacing is correct. Red thread locker. Let me get that. Put a little on the threads. Just a little, you don't need a lot. Just snug this one up. Nope. Just like that. Take our pinion bolt. Just like that. I'll snug that one up. So we want to make sure our timing marks are still in a line. So I'm going to take our nifty little tool here. There we go. Oh, that goes in nice and nice now, huh? All right. Cam chain tension, or the cam chain tensioner. What I like to do is I will start one and then bring it up to match the holes. So I'll get set up my T27. What I like to do is I start on the bottom, just like that. I take a little blue thread locker, just like that. A little too much dripped out on me. No worries. I will start the threads, not tighten it, but just run it in, just like that. All right, I'll get my other T27 bolt ready to go. Little thread locker, line up the holes, snug it up. And now we got good cam chain tension. We do have to torque this one and these two. So let me get these torques, set up the torque wrench, and we'll torque it down. So I got our torques, and for the pinion shaft bolt, which is down here, that's 24 foot-pounds. First go to 15 and then you go to 24. Now for the final, for the cam sprocket, is 34 foot-pounds. So it's 10 more foot-pounds. So we already did 24. Now we're going to do 34 for right here. And that's a 9/16. And where am I getting these out of? I'm getting them out of the Harley Davidson service manual. That if you plan on doing any work on your bike, be a great idea for you to get one. There we go. We got it that time. So now that's all done. Zero out my torque wrench before I forget. Because if you don't, you will throw them out of whack. Torque wrenches are very sensitive. What I mean by zero out, go to the lowest setting on the torque wrench. Like that's a foot-pound torque wrench. The lowest setting on that one is 5 foot-pounds. All right, now these go to 120, 90 to 120 inch-pounds. So take my T27, get it set up for 105 inch-pounds, because that's in the middle between 90 and 120. So here we go. Perfect. Now we set this to its nominal, which is 20 inch-pounds, which is its lowest setting. Because we're going to need that again when we do the outer, which will be coming up next. So let me grab that gasket. So what I'll do at this point is I will go around, put thread locker on all the bolts, and get them installed one at a time. Just, you know, snug them up. Not tighten them, snug them up. And then they get torqued to the same 90 to 105 inch-pounds. Now that we closed up our cam chest, we can move on to, after this, because like I said, I'm waiting for the feeler gauges. For some reason, I don't have those feeler gauges. I couldn't find them last night, so I says, you know what, I'm just going to order them, get some new ones. I know when I find them, they'll go right in and done. Still, someone mentioned to me the other day, they're like, hey, you run those in with the gun, you don't start them by hand. I'm like, no, I've been using these tools or power tools for starting them and doing them so long, I have the feel for it. And nothing against anybody who doesn't, but let me get this finished installed, torque it up, and then we'll move on to the exhaust, I think. All right, guys, let's check this out. I got the jackpot head pipe in there. What I really like about this head pipe is, one, the diameter of the tubes. I think they're 1 7/8 or 2 inches. I don't know exactly for sure. I have to look that up. But what I like is the rear cylinder comes into here, the front cylinder comes into here, into one. And then there it splits into two, and it's a full-size pipe underneath here. Full size. This way, unlike the factory where it squishes down, yeah, that's up too high. There we go. We'll put the mufflers on it. We got to put the heat shields on it. But before I put the heat shields on, I wanted you guys to see this exhaust. It's actually really cool. I like it. I had to run the wideband sensors for the ThunderMax before I put the pipe on. So I have them routed up inside of here. They go inside the battery compartment. They come around right to here. And from here, it's going to plug into the ThunderMax ECU or ECM, whichever you want to call it. I call it an ECU. Let's see. But since we're not using the narrowband, it leaves the narrowband connections open. So ThunderMax has thought of everything. They give you these little rubber covers that go over here, and they're really tight to get on. So you gotta really struggle with it. Okay, so on the 24s and newer, your ECU is under the left side of the side cover. He did have plugged into here the Screaming Eagle street tuner, but we're getting rid of that. We're going with an actual ECU for good tunability. So these two clips should pry down and it pops right off. This little thing you push in, and then it unlatches the door. The door opens, and this comes right off, supposed to come right off. There we go. This, not needed anymore. This, on the other hand, is needed. So, this here will get plugged in right here. Does it go that way? Yes, it does. Because they are notched. I don't know if you can see that notch, but it's right there. They are notched. They only fit one way. And these wires that go to the wideband O2 sensor are marked front and rear. Of course, the longer the two goes to the front, the shorter the two goes to the rear. Even if they're not marked, it should be common sense. What do you guys think? Think that's about accurate? All right, this is not in all the way. There we go. Okay, that one's threading in. The other one did not. I got to back it out. Wideband sensors engaged. Now we will connect this. There we go. We got the door to close and that clip engaged. So this goes right back in the factory location. What's nice is right here is a data port. So we're just going to move this up out of the way. At least try to. And I'm going to snug it up with it up here. This way I could connect the data cable that comes with it. And the owner of this bike will get that data cable. Let me grab it and I'll show you how it plugs in. Okay guys, it's nothing fancy. It's an old school USB. Just plugs in there. Then the regular USB port on the other end will plug into the laptop. The download for the software is free from them. So we'll leave that just like that. And then, you know, I'm going to do the heat shields and the mufflers, and then we'll continue on tomorrow. And, you know, that's it for tonight. I'm going to do the mufflers and the heat shields. It's so exciting. I'm sure you guys are really, really heartbroken not seeing that. All right, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow once we do the lifters, the anti-rotational cuffs, and the adjustable push rods. Let's get back at it. It's next day for me. I just had to wait for Amazon to deliver these feeler gauges because for some ungodly reason, I could not find mine. So now we can continue on. I got my lifters soaking here in oil and how I take them out. And they've been soaking since, I don't know, Saturday, I think it was. And if we remember correctly, that the oil hole on the front goes towards the front of the bike. Oh, wait a minute. But these are different. So let's take a look. We're going to put them towards the center. And I'll explain to you why I chose the center. I'll explain it to you in a minute. If you look down inside the bores for the lifter, you'll see there's a little hole, and it's towards the center of the motor. So that's why I chose that location for the lifters to go towards the center. Even though some people say it doesn't matter because the oil goes all the way around, and they are right. But I like to have the oil go direct. That's just me. So when you set your adjustable push rods, you want your lifter or your motor at top dead center of the compression stroke. And as you can see right now, as the bike sits, this one's a little higher than this one's a little higher than that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate these around and get these level. Let me get this out of the way before I spill it. I did that. Now we're going to do and install our anti-rotational cuffs. That's right, our anti-rotational cuffs from S&S. And S&S is so kind that they give us all new hardware for this. So, getting ready to do this. We're going to do we're going to do the forward head together. And then I'm going to stop recording and do the back head. No reason to see it multiple times. So, and if you look at these, they're marked rear and F for front. So you know which way these are going. You got to make sure these are rotated right. There we go. Put a little thread locker right there. Just a dab will do you. We need to set, so I could run this all the way down by hand because I clean those holes out. Well, first we need to do is get these both to the base circle. And that looks like it right there. That would be the base circle for both of those. So you take 1 2/1000 feeler gauge, you put it in this side of it. All right, then you can take another 2/1000 feeler gauge, this was waiting on, was because I couldn't find mine, you put it on that side of it. This way, when you torque these, that will give it the clearance. What's your clearance? Clearance. And these screws are 120 inch-pounds. So I got to get a 3/8 quarter drive with my inch-pound torque wrench. We're going to set this to 120 inch-pounds. I'm sorry, 105 inch-pounds, because it's 90 to 120. So right in the middle of the two is 105. And how do I figure that? The difference between 90 and 120 is 30. Half of 30 would be what? 15. So I add 15 to the 90, which gives me 105. So now we're going to torque this down. So if you see this, as I'm tightening, it's going to pull tight here and push tight there. With those feeler gauges right there, it's going to be just fine. So to make sure we did it right, let's pull these out. And they come out nice and easy like they should. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a lifter magnet, and these should raise up and then float back down. Just like that. See? So that one is done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brand new gasket, put this here, and I'm going to take 4 bolts. These are 1/4 with the, all right, so we got the tappet or lifter cover on, tappet cuffs on, as you saw. Now what we need to do is just snug these up before we torque them. And these are 105 inch-pounds, just like every other 1/4 8-bolt or 3/16 Allen head nut you have on your bike. The book, however, says anywhere from, what is it? The book says, where is it? It's over here, I got it. 11 to 13 foot-pounds, which means it's 12 foot-pounds. I'm not going to go by that. Every bolt like this on this motorcycle is 105 foot-pounds. Oh man, I got to find that now. I found it. I got to get some of these short wobble head sockets, especially the 3/16, just for inside of here. It'll make my life so much easier. All right, so we're ready to torque. I got them run down, we're ready to torque them up. So to 105 inch-pounds. I'm going to start in this back corner here. If I can get the socket in there. That socket's in there. There you go, that's that one. Now we'll go over to this one. It's that one. Now this one. And now got to get this inside the ball. All right. On the ball. And I got it. Oh, I can't get that in there. Damn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. With this one. Yes. Now, can this go on? Yes. There we go. All 4 of those are torqued up. Now we're ready to do the intake push rod. So the gasket or O-ring goes up top, just like that. Got one here for the exhaust already. We got the O-ring for the bottom right here. And just to verify, I don't know if you could see it, but it says intake right on the push rod. So, get that bad boy up there. All right, now we're cooking with Wesson. I have to expand the push rod enough so I can get my wrench in there and then pick up the little adjuster bolt. Now, these are Fuel Moto, and Fuel Moto states that 3.5 turns after you hit 0 lash. There we go. Now we can expand it down. It's a dance to get these going. It really is. You got to move the adjuster up, nut up, and then expand it, move the adjuster nut up, expand it. These are fun. Nice part about, and I always say, the nice part about these push rods, the adjustables, is you're not limited to your cam, because you're not trying to reuse stock push rods with a base circle that's factory. So 0 lash right there. So what I'm going to do is take a red Sharpie. I'm going to mark this one flat. All right. You can count flats, but I like counting turns. So I'm going to hold this part, and I'm going to go 3.5 turns. And get that out of the way. You can feel the tension on it. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Now we got to get a 1/2 turn out of this. All right, so a 1/2 turn. So I'm going to hold that, and that's going to be what? 2, 3, 3 flats. So that's 1, 2, right there. So I'm going to let that sit. We're going to let this lifter bleed down for 20 minutes. And then I could do the front one, rotate the back, so on and so on. So I'll get all this done. All right, so to be honest with you, I'm waiting on the last bleeder to bleed down, or the last lifter to bleed down, last lifter to bleed down. So I figure I'd come over here and we handle these springs. Now, they got 3 10 millimeters. All you have to do is remove the derby cover. You don't have to remove the outer primary. So what you want to do is loosen these up kind of evenly. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pull these springs out, and we are going to take a look at the difference between the two. All right, so let me bring the camera down here. You can take a look. Okay, if you look, this is the replacement spring. Thicker coil wire than that, and they're shorter, but we also have these shims. So we could dial in how tight or how stiff these are. I'm going to put both shims in for each spring. So here's 2 shims. They go in here like that. And then the spring goes in. And then we do the same thing for the other 2. 2 shims. The spring. Be careful not to drop the shims inside of your primary, because if you do, guess what you're doing? You're taking the outer primary off, which means you're going to be draining oil, buying a quart of oil. So be very careful. Start these by hand, and no thread locker on these, believe it or not. And you want to tighten these up in about the same fashion, evenly. Just go round robin with it. Now that that's done, I'm going to put my ratchet on it, make sure they're tight. There is a torque, but to be honest with you, I never use the torque on sequence or the torque value here. Okay, now we put our derby cover back on, and he's got a nice derby cover from Thrashing Supply too, with all the other Thrashing stuff he's got. I don't know if Thrashing makes anything that he doesn't have. Which is not a bad thing. I mean, Thrashing's a good company. I just wish I finished the video for the triple trees, but I got rocking and rolling with the music, getting in conversation with a few people, and know how that goes. Now the torque for this is 90 inch-pounds, but I just put them with the gun and then check it with the ratchet. Again, going in on a star pattern, not running them all in nice and tight. All right, now we're going to tighten it. Come on, get on there, get on there. It's ball. All right, so now that that's done, I'll put the ratchet on it, make sure they're nice and tight. Just a little turn just to make sure they're tight. I don't want this thing coming off. I'm sure he doesn't want this thing coming off. Oh, and no thread locker on these either. None. Okay, so what's left? Believe it or not, once I get that all adjusted up and done, then I disconnected the fuel line. I'm going to crank it over, get some fuel pressure in there. Oh, I'm sorry, not fuel pressure. Oil pressure. That's the word I'm looking for. Oil pressure. Get some oil circulating through that cam chest, that oil pump, around the cam and the lifters, up through the push rods to the top end. Once that's done, then I can connect the laptop, and then I can show you how to do a basic map for the ThunderMax. Okay, hope you guys could see what's going on. All I did was turn the bike on, plug in the ThunderMax ECU to the USB port in the laptop, fired up the ThunderMax software and registered it. So this is where we are. So measuring fuel flow, monitoring, log and process. We're going to stop the monitoring process. Say OK. Close. Okay, so now what we want to do is go to module configuration. We're going to go to basic settings. Rev limit set to 6,400. Drag race 64. Acceleration, speed, idle RPM is set to 928. 68, let me see, units, 6 gear. Fuel, this all looks good. Cranking fuel looks good. Decel. Engine temp threshold, okay. Cooling temp, that looks good. Throttle sensitivity. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to turn this down to, let's see, requires version 2. Larger the value, the quicker throttle response. So we're going to give them the most throttle response we can. Kickstand enabled. Baker Grudge, knock configuration. All right, everybody. I got it working. I found the right map. That's the biggest thing you got to do is find the right map. Now I'm relinking it. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to fire this bad boy up. It's going to be the first time. So we got auto tune is enabled. Let's say yes to everything here. Let it read. And then we're going to do a first time startup cold. And you're going to hear what the bike sounds like. Now with this pipe from Fuelmoto, which is the Jackpot XXX Extreme. I'm zoomed in, holy cow, let me unzoom that. And the Cyclorama 484 cam. Yes, the air cleaner's still off of it. Okay, I got to go back in. That's why I left the air cleaner off. I got to go back in tomorrow and readjust the push rods. All right, everybody, and that's it for this video. It's been a long one, I understand, but hopefully we all learned something here today. All right, everybody, until the next time, I want you to live the best life you can. Ride often, as always, ride hard.